Oh, Squib.
Well, hello everybody. Welcome to the Lock and Load Show on the world famous Gun Channels platform, broadcasting on gunchannels.com/HVS and on YouTube. They haven't shut us down for talking about guns yet. Uh, and got my incredibly awesome, great panelists, the usual suspects. And Patrick, I believe, is from Texas, Dallas-Fort Worth area. And Squib is from a big plastic factory in the Ice Age territory of Michigan.
We get relegated down to a territory.
Well, I mean, the way that state. Well, I mean, I'll insult Michigan later in the chat if you want. But
you know, you're surrounded by the ocean. We're surrounded by the Great Lakes. I mean, come on.
All right. So we wanted to say something about the real deal passing away. I had heard about it in the morning, but I didn't want to start texting everybody right away because I wanted to make sure it wasn't fake news. And because there have been rumors before about his death, and it was. Let me do the screen share on his YouTube page. It was on Fox News where I heard it, and it's also on his Twitter page. So the gunny has passed away, complications from pneumonia at the age of 74. I guess the gates of heaven will be much better guarded now than they were before.
I guarantee you he has to see their war face. The guards there.
We used to sing a song in boot camp, and it said something about after you die, you go to heaven, and you say to St. Peter, another Marine reporting, sir, I've served my time in hell, implying that boot camp is hell. So,
well, I thought they were referring to the wars the battles that they fought.
For us, the song was about boot camp. I mean, yeah, I suppose if you want to, because I mean, we did have a guy die in boot camp actually, but yeah, you typically tend to die in combat. But the way we kind of took the song was that your rite of passage, just getting through boot camp was such hell that combat's nothing. But that's not exactly true either. Just get you ready for combat. But yeah,
and that's what his job was. He was a drill sergeant and the
drill instructor. Army is drill sergeant. Marine Corps is drill instructor.
Gunnery sergeant, I believe. Correct.
He was a staff sergeant. He was honorarily promoted to gunnery sergeant after the fact because a lot of the things that he has done as an actor have helped the Marine Corps as far as recruitment and things like that. Even though in movies like the Full Metal Jacket or The Boys from Company C, he seems to be a real jerk. There's some true to life stuff in that, and anybody I ever talked to, when they saw that made them want to join. It didn't scare them away from joining. So they gave him the honorary rank of gunnery sergeant. I believe, I don't know if he got out on a medical discharge or not, is why he left as a staff sergeant. But he served, 10 or 11 years active duty. So.
Well, they trained like in Vietnam, like 350,000 Marines. And I heard him talk about that on a show, and he was basically said he was training them. It wasn't just that he was training them to be in the Marine Corps. He was training them to go to Vietnam and be in combat like right away. And whenever they would look at the Stars and Stripes, they would see the list of the casualties. And if one of his trainees got killed, then he'd take that personal. So he tried to train them right. And
yeah, somebody who hasn't served in the military, hasn't been in combat, something like that, might look at some of that stuff as cruel or sadistical or something like that. And I don't think that they understand that they've got to get you to a place where you can be effective in combat so you don't let your buddies down. You don't get them killed. And in order to do that, they've got to break you down and build you back up. And guys like Arlie did that. And it's not an easy thing because you've got to be one kind of person when you're on the job. And then when the day is over and you go home to your family and stuff like that, you've got to turn a switch and turn all that off. And it's not an easy thing to do.
So what would you remember anything about your gunnery sergeant from when you were?
We didn't have a gunnery sergeant. The highest ranking drill instructor. We had 5 drill instructors, and they were all sergeants and staff sergeants. And I remember all kinds of things about them. They sometimes they would take turns. We called it getting bent. That's where they make you do physical training as punishment. And they'd take turns bending us. And when one got bored, they just call in a new one. Sometimes all 5 of them were set in the office. They called it the duty hut, the office. And they just come out one after the other. And we'd be like, when are these guys going to get tired? One of my drill instructors found me years later. Well, actually, I ran into 2 of them. Like maybe about 6 months or so later, something like that, I ran into one at the PX at Camp Pendleton, and he was like, "How the hell are you?" You know, it's like this guy used to be the meanest kind of person, and he just runs into me, "How the hell are you?" Like it's no big deal. I mean, it isn't. He's just doing his job. And then I ran into another one at my duty station a couple years later. And when I saw him, I about fell off the stool I was sitting on. I was sitting on a stool reading a paper, and he come walking in, and I knew there was somebody in there, but I had the paper up, and he called out my name, and I recognized that voice, and I lowered the paper, and there he was in my face, and I about fell over.
Well, but you weren't a recruit anymore, so you didn't have to like jump up 10 feet.
No, I didn't call him sir. I called him staff sergeant. Come to find out, he's working at the hangar next to mine, and blah blah blah. And there was nobody ever said anything like no hard feelings, or we were just trying to get you ready for war. Nothing like that. None of that is said. That's not something that you speak about. I mean, it's just they're now, even though they're higher rank and they've got more experience and they had to train you, we're all Marines, so we're all brothers. I don't hold any grudges against my drill instructors. I think that what they did helped me. And a lot of the stuff didn't seem funny at the time, but now it's hilarious.
Sometimes you can look back and laugh at things that were just very painful at the moment you're going through them. I guess that's the life is like that. Anyway, I don't have tons to say about him except he's kind of a legend, but I'll leave anybody that wants to say anything that was in the Marine Corps about him, then just go ahead and leave a comment on the video or send us. It's been really hard for me to switch back and forth between the comments on the Google on YouTube because there's like I can't run it on. I have to run the show on Internet Explorer, and then if I want to go see the live YouTube text chat, I got to go back to Firefox. I mean, don't ask me why. It's all crazy. See, so BC truck, and it says after boot camp, I never saw my drill instructors again. Thank God. Local 222 says, I wonder what his net worth is. I don't know. You can't take any of it with you up to heaven. You only leave it behind. So I'm sure he would like to take that Ma Deuce with him. But in case there's a firing range up there. But, life is really short. So just to have fun while you're here is all I can tell you. Because we're just here for a real short time. And other than that, I don't have tons of stuff for this week's show. I've been recovering from a little cold. I got some silver last week. I don't know if you guys saw my video. I got a little bit of silver delivered last week, and from Provident Metals, and it's pretty good. Always feels great to have a little bit of extra tangible assets like that, but I really need to go through and just make a tally of all the silver I have, because I just need to know. I kind of have a pretty close idea of how many hundreds of ounces, but I think I need to tally it just from my own sanity. Of course, I can't take any of that with me either, so I will do my best to spend it before I pass away. Yeah, he local 223. He did a lot. He had some shows on several cable networks, and he had sponsorships from Glock and a lot of TV commercials for different things. And he had a. I'm sure he did okay.
I don't think he was hurting for cash.
Yeah, and plus he had residuals from Full Metal Jacket, but
and he gets his Marine Corps retirement or whatever he got per month for them, and I'm sure he was doing okay, because the guy did Mail Call, the History Channel, he had stuff from it. I wish they'd still put it back.
Outdoor Channel, yeah, too. Yeah, I saw one of his shows on artillery over the weekend. Where he went through all the history of artillery, and that was one thing I noticed, that Russia said they were going to not sell the U.S. any more titanium, and titanium is actually used in the artillery, the M777 artillery piece. It's a lot of titanium in it, so it's not just my titanium canteen. But naval ships and some of those metals those rare earth metals are harder to come by. So Russia may be blockading sale of some of that stuff. So,
well, we'll just do what we did back in the 60s for the SR-71. We'll just get the CIA to have a dummy corporation, buy all the titanium from Russia.
Well, they that's how they paid off the Clintons and got a bunch of our extra uranium. Yeah. Uranium One, and so if anybody was watching any cable news channels over the last day or two, the only thing they got right about the news was they got Sean Hannity's name right, but everything else in the story was bullshit. But his name they got right. Everything else was wrong, but his name is Sean Hannity. And other than talking to a lawyer about some real estate, I don't think I don't know why they talked about him for like hours and hours and hours and hours. But
they talked about Sean Hannity for hours and hours?
Yes, because his name came when Michael Cohen, I think Trump's lawyers, it was a lawyer that paid off Stormy Daniels, and his office and home was raided by the FBI, and he went to court to get the evidence. He wanted to get the evidence the FBI had and has in their evidence locker now, put under the charge of special master, so they can determine if there's any privileged information, privileged files that the FBI shouldn't have, and so they had to know the name of all of Cohen's clients, which was Trump and Sean Hannity. And Sean Hannity wasn't really his client, though, but he mentioned his name because they had a conversation about real estate, and he never actually paid him, never sent him an invoice. they just talked about real estate once or twice, and that was it, because Sean Hannity likes to invest in real estate. So, but all weekend it was everybody on MSLSD and the Clinton News Network it was Sean Hannity, and they did this montage at the end of tonight's show on and of just everybody saying his name on all these channels over and over and over again. So that's the one thing they got right was his name. His name is Sean Hannity, but everything else they said was bullshit. Because he never got an invoice from Cohen, and they just had they like bumped into each other and talked about real estate, and that was it.
Oh, everybody's trying to burn Hannity for anything they can find. I mean, anything.
Yeah, and they, because it came up in the whole Trump thing and Stormy Daniels, and so I mean, people were, it's like people, you can't get, anytime there's hookers involved, and she wasn't a hooker, she's a porn star. So I don't know how, this was like a 15-year-old, basically they had sex 15 years ago. So I don't know how long he's been married to Melania, but it really doesn't matter what happened 15 years ago. I mean, who had sex with who 15 years ago? I mean, don't we have other things to worry about? But
I agree with you, and I mean, he was married to Melania when this all happened, but that's between him and her. I don't care. He wasn't president. I mean, I kind of care if a president does that while he's in office, he or she's in office, because that's an image thing.
I mean, if he was my son-in-law or something, or then I would be pissed. But
if you are not president and you did that 15, 20 years ago, I don't really care. You weren't president, so. You want to cheat on your wife? Between you, that's you and her, man.
Yeah. The only thing that some people are saying, well, how come he's cheating on this blonde lady who isn't as pretty as Melania? Well, 15 years ago, maybe she was, maybe the porn star was better looking. I don't know. Old porn.
15 years ago, she was hot. She's.
I haven't seen pictures of Stormy or Melania 15 years ago, but because I haven't done that internet search yet. But
yeah,
I don't think I will.
Over here when she was young, she was gorgeous. And she still is.
Well, maybe he just got tired of brunettes and wanted a blonde for a change. I mean, the guy's a billionaire. It's like ice cream. It could have been just like flavors of ice cream or something,
It may be all be BS, because I've heard that there was some other porn star that said, "Oh, everything she's saying is total BS," and it's not true.
Well, of course. I mean, you expect a porn star to actually, they don't get paid for talking. I mean,
true. Well, sometimes they do. What Tracy Lords did.
Well, that was after she was a porn star. She quit that job and got into a straight line of work.
Hey, but Barbara Bush ain't doing too good. She's not making it through the week, So.
Yeah, like I was saying, we're here for a short time, and so just try and have a good time. Try and do what you want to do, and try and live your life as free and just have fun. Living life. That's about the most best advice I can give anybody, because we're all mortal, and it doesn't matter if you're the first lady, the second lady, or the third lady, or the hooker that got paid off. You're only going to live for so amount of time, certain amount of time, and then mortality catches up with you. So anyway, what's everybody? I know you were saying that. No, wait, that was Jesse James, 38. He was saying that he got some MDR that he had to send back because some of the pins were broken and the mag release was messed up. He didn't write down who exactly he got it from, though. He didn't say which company it was. Oh well. Am I seeing? Am I seeing two of squib? All right.
Okay, I can hear you guys now. Oh, my earpiece is turned off.
Well, okay. Let's see. What else has been going on? We've had a ton of flash flood warnings and heavy rain stuff over here in Hawaii on the Big Island. And I think I talked about that Canadian that got swept out to sea, who basically went snorkeling off the Champagne Ponds on the east tip of the island, and probably swam out too far, and they sent out Coast Guard cutters and the Dolphin Coast Guard helicopter, and they couldn't find anything. And it's a dangerous place, the ocean out there. So you got to respect it. I haven't been working on too much. My water steam distillation H2O Labs has been working great. Coffee tastes great when you distill the water, and it's great to have that capability to do that. And that's one of those, like a good prepping item, even though I'm not yet on catchment because the deal for the house that I made an offer on didn't go through. So I'm still looking for some other place up in the jungle to move to. I am going to be I'm going to be in Arizona in May, and I'm going to have a little fun there on my birthday, around the middle of May, and see what we'll see over down there in Prescott, where I get to actually open carry sidearm. It'll be fun. Something you can't do walking down the street in Hawaii, but you can do that walking right by the courthouse in Arizona, and they won't come and tackle you and tack you to the ground or anything like that. Just for having a holster and a weapon. But let's see. Other than the passing of Robert Lee Ermey, I don't know. Oh yeah, here's this guy. I mean, here's something from the Firearm Policy Coalitions on this. Basically, he was a Hawaiian attorney general that they nominated to be a judge on the Ninth Circuit. And here's the quote: he says, while Attorney General, he filed an amicus brief in the Heller case, arguing that, quote, the Second Amendment has no application to state laws, unquote. And I'm going to do a screen share of this Firearm Policy Coalition. Take action.
What was Trump thinking when he put this guy in? You know, it's like.
Well, probably Tulsi Gabbard or somebody got on the phone and convinced him to do it because he's from Hawaii, so he must be cool or something. I don't know. Because he's from Hawaii means he must be left wing, pretty much. But I mean, the thing is, this when he files an amicus brief saying the Second Amendment has no application to state laws. I mean, Hawaii's state constitution has an exact copy of the Second Amendment in the Hawaii state constitution. So, I mean, if he doesn't want to pay any attention to the federal Second Amendment, maybe he could pay attention to the state's own Second Amendment Constitution. I mean, it's in the state constitution as well. It's just that they ignore it because they want to, because they think they know better. Or they just don't trust Hawaiians with guns or something. So
they're afraid they're going to take the island back.
Well, that would be, I mean, good luck. I don't think that any American would be ruled by like a Hawaiian monarch.
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, there are no Hawaiian monarchs left. They're all passed away into history, and there's no king or queen. So, I mean, they could like have a vote and say, okay, this is our new king, but like everybody that's not Hawaiian would just do what they did in the 1890s and overthrow them again, like the first day. I mean,
so there's nobody left. Nobody. None of the families have continued on at all. I mean, even though the queen, but there's
it's really, there are very few full blood Native Hawaiians left. I mean, it's been kind of a tragedy of what's happened to the Hawaiian people, but I mean, it's a lot of it was because when there was when people came from Europe to the islands, there was no immunity among the native populations to things like chickenpox or smallpox or any disease like that, or any of the social diseases either. So any disease could be a death sentence that you got from, and if you're a Native Hawaiian, and because there was no immunity to that kind of thing,
right?
And then they had laws where you weren't allowed to speak Hawaiian in public and other dumb stuff like that. As most Native American tribes who peoples know, I mean, that they just got treated really badly by the white European, well, whatever you want to call it, the American government treated them like shit. I mean, that's like almost standard. But the fact is, now that this is America, I don't think regular Americans that live here or anybody that was born here is I mean, there's a lot of sovereignty stuff and people that, you know, go out there and protest telescopes and things, but I just don't see that citizens would stand for living under a monarchy. I mean, it's just insane. I mean, it's not that our government is all that great, but we're just not going to live under a monarch.
I know Dog the Bounty Hunter is not going to do it, so.
Well, I don't think he counts as Hawaiian. I mean, so he's from Colorado, isn't he?
No, he's from Texas, man.
I thought he was from Colorado. Okay.
No, he's from Texas.
I thought he was a Canadian.
No. No, he's from Texas. I think he's from San Antonio.
Hey, don't say that like you're proud.
Oh, hey, I don't care. I don't know the man. I'm sure he's okay guy, except he's a little just strange, you know. But
hey, HVS out there in the YouTube side there, your buddy, the president of NASCAR, says hi.
Oh, hey, Mike, if you're out there, let me see if I can make my way over there. Mike Helton, he's got a really good prepping channel where he just puts out his thoughts and his take on things, and he's like the American version of Canadian Prepper, and which makes him better because obviously he's not Canadian, so he's got a big advantage. But it's kind of the same philosophy of just putting out your talking about picking a topic and ranting talking about a specific topic that's on someone's mind, and that some things that make you think, kind of generally related to prepping in one way or another.
So I did not know the president of NASCAR had a channel on YouTube.
Yeah, it's a different Mike Helton. Just like the Depeche Mode keyboardist we were talking about the other day. Who was that, Squib?
Oh, Andy Fletcher.
Right, Andrew Fletcher. He's not just if you, I guess, Squib, you Googled him, and Andrew Fletcher came up with Depeche Mode, but he was also.
I actually knew his name, and I don't really know a whole lot about music, so don't hold it against me, I guess.
All right. Well, yeah, Andrew Helton was a Scottish patriot and a clerk for a Scottish judge, and he wrote the 12 Limitations of Government. And the 9th one was about firearms, and the 12th one was about basically that says if the king's government violates the 12 Limitations of Government, then they forfeit the crown and their sovereignty. So And Jefferson basically credited that. It was one of the inspirations to the Bill of Rights. So let me see if I can actually find the Lock and Roach. Oh, here it is. Yeah, so I like Mike's channel. I don't agree with everything you say, Mike, but I like listening to it because it makes me think. Let's see. And that's the thing about prepping is it's a lot about thinking. And plan. I mean, if you're going to have a plan, and then it helps to actually think about what your plan is going to be. Hey, Jared made it in.
Hey, what's going on?
Well, we were just talking about some current events. Arlie Ermey passed away, I think, in the last day or two over the weekend. And everybody liked him from Full Metal Jacket. And
yeah, I saw. I was actually watching. I've been watching the show, but somebody posted a meme that was the left can't meme. Obviously, they're terrible at it. But anyways, it was a meme that said something along the lines that you know, you don't want. Or let me find the meme, because it was one of those memes that talked about oh, you're against illegal immigration on land that's not yours, on stolen land or something.
right.
Have you seen those memes?
Not particularly, but I'm familiar with the concept. I mean,
yeah, it says no one is illegal on stolen land.
right. It is sort of, sometimes it's like watching two dogs fight over a bone that they stole from someone else, but it's like the United States isn't giving back the land to the Indians or to Mexico or whoever it came from originally, and so there's enough history to go back and point fingers at all kinds of people. But
one of my things is he's a homeowner. You know,
he's what?
Yeah, he's a homeowner, so I could have, if I wanted to engage in an argument, I could say, hey, then why don't you turn over your land, bro?
Well, if we have to give back all the United States' land, then I want the entire world to give up all the land. We're just going to go floating in the ocean like a water world.
I mean, I'm just saying, if your land, if it's all, I mean, it is stolen, in one way or another, it is stolen. But if no one's illegal on stolen land, and I mean, you're admitting your land's stolen. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. That's a weird concept for me, because I know it's just supposed to start an argument. It's not really like, he's not going to have any good conversations out of that. It's just a shit. I mean, it's a shit post, if you will. That's all it really is he wants to stir people up and get them pissed off.
Okay, here's when I got a meme that Mike Helton will like if he's still with us. Hang on, because he's into traps. So I know he's into trapping to get meat and stuff, and he's a fan. So can you guys see this one?
I catch Democrat. What's under the box?
There's a bottle that says, there's a beer bottle that says free shit.
I had to turn the phone the right way. That's pretty good.
Mike's still here.
Okay, good.
I like that one.
Yeah, it works. I mean, so
he's laughing. So what's your take on the whole Syria thing? Do you think did you guys talk about it on Friday night, or?
I don't know I don't remember what we talked about on Friday night. That was a long time ago. Today's Monday.
No, you guys, I listened to Edge's show at work today as prep work for today's show, and you guys really didn't go over Syria on Friday.
Okay.
We did a little bit, not by much.
My only thoughts on Syria is that the main concern that Russia has in Syria is the port of Tartus. And because ever since Peter the Great, I believe it was him that started the Russian Navy, who built the first Russian Navy, that it's their home port is St. Petersburg. And the sea there gets frozen every winter, solid. And so if they want to have a blue water navy, they have to have a warm water port somewhere because their home port is completely frozen in. They can't get a ship in or out of there every winter. The ocean just freezes over around St. Petersburg. So ever since the Russian Navy was created, they've always needed to get a warm water port somewhere. And they used to have wars with Turkey over the Baltic Sea, but they have the whole. That's why there's like the Bosporus Straits. There's like an international treaty that the Bosporus Straits is like an open strait. Otherwise, Russia would still be fighting with Turkey over it. So, but that's a little small gap. They need a warm water port. Is why they want to be in Syria.
Yeah, they're going to be SOL if the United States decides to apply more sanctions on them and they have no warm water port. Then, however many months of the year, they ain't going to have nothing, no import, no export, right?
Well, they have no ability to project any sorts of naval power around the world. There, if you don't have a warm water port, you're not a blue water navy, and if you don't have a navy, well, then you're not only not a superpower,
you suck.
Yeah, you have to have a navy if you want to be a world power. And you don't have if your navy's frozen in St. Petersburg port, then you ain't got nothing.
I think Trump said it best. Didn't he say one of the most shithole country?
You don't have to be worried about being attacked either, right? Because they're landlocked, pretty much.
Well,
by Navy.
Yeah, so I think some of the people on Mike Helton's channel were saying, "Oh, it's all about the oil." Well, Syria doesn't have that much oil. It's not. They have some oil, enough to keep like ISIS going, but if they still controlled it, but it's mainly the warm water port for Russia that's important.
If it was all about the oil, we would have pumped all the oil out of Iraq a long time ago and brought it over here. So it's all about the oil. No.
Yeah, I'm getting sick and tired of that.
Here's the thing about Syria. Syria is a small country, and last time they did this crap, we lobbed some cruise missiles at them. This time, we got our friends to join us, and we lobbed twice as many cruise missiles at them. When I was on Gelsma Outdoors on Friday, I jumped into the show late, and somebody had typed in the live chat that we were at war with Syria. Now, I wasn't reading the live chat, so I'm paraphrasing. And we had a moment of silence, and I didn't want to say anything at the time, but I was kind of thinking, wait a minute. You're telling me we got boots on the ground and people are dying right now? No, we threw some cruise missiles at them. So
we do have boots on the ground in Syria.
Well, we have special forces there training them and stuff like that, right? We're back in the rebels, and the Russians are back in Assad, right?
It's not that simple. It's not a coin with two sides. It's like a 20-sided dice.
Well, my understanding is we lobbed some cruise missiles at the facilities where they make the chemical weapons. And that's what we did last time.
Which is supposedly certified to not have any chemical weapons in them by, I forget what the hell the thing is called.
Yeah, some universal convention for chemical weapons prevention. I mean, who knows?
If we land troops on the shore and drop troops in from the air and walk troops in across the border, and we actually have a sizable force there that is not there to help the rebels or keep the peace, but is actually there to take take the country, then I'll be worried. But as long as we're just lobbing missiles, I'm not worried.
Well, I'm not worried because I live in Hawaii and Syria isn't invading Hawaii. But
Syria couldn't invade a postage stamp.
It's
Right,
not
well-
Syria. People are worried about China and Russia.
no, they're
Oh,
worried
they're not
about
gonna do that.
Iran. I mean, it basically, I think Israel has kind of had it with Iran, and it's not just Israel, it's the Saudis have had it with Iran. And what people are worried about is that the Saudis and the Israelis and the Iranians get into a full-on shooting war in the Gulf, where a lot of the world's oil passes through the Straits of Hormuz, and it's not that the United States needs the oil there, but the Europeans sure do, and the prices would shoot through the moon, which would probably be a good thing for America because America is pretty energy independent, but it would be terrible for Europe, and the world economy would probably take a beating if the Saudis and the Israelis and the Iranians started shooting missiles and sinking ships or oil tankers in the Straits of Hormuz.
They tried that back in '88 and it didn't work.
Yeah, I mean,
Well-
but do you really think the Saudis are that stupid to do that? I mean, the loose cannon over there is the Iranian. They're the ones that are the nuts. I mean, even the Saudis, yeah, they're not the nicest folks in the world, but I mean, do you really
Well,
think their leadership is that stupid? Just, hey, let's go pick a fight. Let's go start this. Even
The
same
fight has already started. They already have Iranian missiles landing in Riyadh. I mean,
Oh, well,
if Russian missiles were landing in Washington D.C., you would probably surmise that the fight had already started. But you don't think it matters that there's Iranian missiles landing in the capital of Saudi Arabia to them? I mean,
I did not know that.
Yeah, but are they cheap Chinese copies of outdated Russian missiles that sucked anyhow? Or, I mean, are they legit missiles?
well, China steals all of our latest designs, so they should be pretty current. I mean, as well as the Iranians can reproduce Chinese mock-ups, Chinese reverse-engineered missiles.
All they
I
have is
mean-
the shape. They can copy the shape. They can't copy what's inside. I'm just kidding.
So, I don't know. I mean, the cyber war and stealing of intellectual property. I mean, the Russians do it, the Chinese do it. There's more to building a missile than just reverse engineering it. But I mean, they've had Silkworm missiles before they stole anything. I mean, and they have. I think the thing with the Russians and the Chinese is they have like supersonic anti-ship missiles now. I don't know. What are they claiming? Mach 20 missiles or something like that? Ridiculous. But
Bring it.
bring it. It would just be a mess. But the thing is that the U.S. and doesn't really have control over what Saudis and Israel want to do. I mean, they treated Trump really nice because they were so sick of Obama. You think you were sick of Obama? The Saudis are really at it.
But he bowed down to them. How can a leader of the free world bow to any man other than God?
Well,
This is
here's
wrong.
one thing. If they make us mad, we stop sending them airplanes. We stop sending them arms.
Why would we do that? They pay good money for them.
Well, if they piss us off, we don't have to sell them an F-16 that are built right down the street.
Then
They
You know,
buy
Then
F-15.
then they'll take
no, they won't buy.
hostages.
They'll buy Russian or they'll buy
No.
French.
No, they'll take hostages, and then we'll have to negotiate through, backdoor channels to sell them parts for their equipment in return for the hostages.
Well, you could just send them some car parts from your factory. Maybe they'll take that.
We'll send Chuck Norris.
You know that's what happened in 1980, right?
Your factory sent them car parts?
No, we gave the Iranians parts for their American equipment that was falling apart in return for the hostages.
Now they have Russian
parts?
equipment that's falling apart.
Didn't we give them like broken down parts?
No.
We didn't give them broken. That's kind of stupid. Sure, this radar works on an F-14. Sure. We just took it off
buddy
one
who goes.
day.
I got a buddy that goes over there every 2 weeks, and he works on the equipment with the Saudis, and he says that it's a shit show over there. He said it's worse than the Army. Nobody knows what they're doing. They don't want to do anything. He goes like, okay, do this, this, and this. I'll be back in 2 weeks. He flies back in 2 weeks. Nothing's done. They don't care. I don't know. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, I mean, fighting them, we've already fought over there before. Fighting them is not a problem.
I don't think you want to fight the Saudis. It's their country.
Yeah, he was just talking about it like, oh, these guys are insane. It's like I need to get parts from the guy from the parts crib or whatever, a supply, and I go talk to him, and he's like trying to make a deal with me, and it's like, dude, give me the parts. Like, I'm not part of a tribe or something. Like,
yeah, it's a whole different culture.
Well, yeah, but
of course.
That's the thing of trade barter is that's how they do it. And my friend, one of my friends' family's from in that part of the world, and it's like, yeah, that's the way that is. The trade barter for everything.
When I was a kid, my folks took me along to Jerusalem, and we visited Israel when I was like 13 after my bar mitzvah, right? And so my mom takes me in tow, and she wants to take me on a tour of Jerusalem. And so she finds a tour guide in Jerusalem, and he happened to be some Palestinian guy. So he takes us on a tour of everywhere that Jesus walked and everything. Of course, we're Jewish, but it was interesting. And he seemed to have a lot of knowledge of everything. And so at the end of the tour, the Palestinian guy is like, okay, basically, this is how much you should pay me now. And at the start of the tour, he said, well, I'll give you the tour, and then we can decide how much you pay, whatever you want. And so now he told us how much he wanted, and my mom was like, that's way too much. And so he haggles with my mom, and I mean, good luck with that. And so finally the guy says, well, there's like, why don't we just call over the police and they can decide if I'm being fair or not? And my mom's like, great, let's call the police. And all of a sudden he's like, no, you just pay me whatever you want. So he gave him some money.
Mike's going to bed.
Okay, thanks for stopping by, Mike. God bless. Take it easy. Stay warm out there in Tennessee. And I hope your wood chopping business does well. We won't get into that argument again over chopping wood for money. But anyway, this was real funny. This Palestinian guy trying to haggle with my mom over how much the tour of Jerusalem should be paid for. And so, yeah, he tried to do the bluff over, well, let's call the police and see what they think. And so my mom called that bluff and said, okay, yeah, let's call the police. Let's have the police right over here. Where is it? And he was like, all of a sudden he was like, no. I don't think the police is going to take the side of a Palestinian over a Jewish lady in Jerusalem. So that would just not happen. So anyway.
He thought he could get her on the tourist, but he didn't realize.
Well, he didn't. Well, my mom's almost as good a haggler as me. So, well, she's probably better. But anyway. So, yeah, that is part of the culture in the Mideast is haggling. But no.
But what it does is it impairs their ability to be an effective fighting force as well, amongst other things.
Well, generally, Army units don't have to haggle with the supply sergeant over parts for their gear. I mean, if that's what you're saying happened.
Well, I'm not going to say it never goes on in the American military, but what I'm saying though is that it's just a whole different. It's just a whole. I'm not worried about any of them over there. I'm just not.
I mean, if you want to, I understand if you want to haggle over a case of scotch, there's going to be haggling. But
Not over
HBS, did you ever
equipment.
see MASH?
yeah, I saw MASH.
Corporal Radar O'Reilly and Klinger. I mean, come on.
Yeah, but I mean, this is bad when this guy only has 2 weeks time, and they need him there every 2 weeks. He missed. This guy's my one of my professors. He missed almost the whole semester because the Saudis needed him because nobody knows what the hell they're doing. Apparently, they're flying around in a bunch of jets, and none of the I don't know if it's the navigation. What's the most expensive? He works on one of the most expensive systems in the jet. I don't know, something to do with navigation or something to do with, I don't know.
The weapons array, the radar array,
avionics package.
Yeah, it's the whatever it is. Yeah, it's the whole thing. And he's like, we're trying to get this shit working over here. People keep firing rockets at us.
Is it on military aircraft or civilian?
Air Force. It's the Saudi Air Force.
Yeah, they're going to have F-15Cs.
Yeah, they bought a whole bunch of stuff from Raytheon.
Yeah, so he's been going over there a lot. And he's like, I don't even know why. He's like, he never was in the Army or military or anything. So he's like, I go over there for fucking 2 weeks. Nothing's working. Everybody's mad at each other or something. And he's like, I just try to get my stuff done.
Sounds like gun
nobody
channel.
wants to listen. Yeah,
sounds like the lobby on gun channel.
They're all shooting at each other.
They pay him a lot of money to go there, and they just like argue with him about stuff. And he's like, it's like I can't even get the equipment that I left 2 weeks ago. I left you with a list of equipment that needed to be here when I got here. None of that equipment is here. And they're like, well, you never gave us a list. I made 2 copies and gave it to 2 different people. No.
So they just need him to show up to be an American to yell at once every 2 weeks, is what you're saying.
Pretty much. But, I mean, I guess he gets paid good money, but, I mean, he's losing his mind because, normal people don't like rockets landing there when they're working on bases.
Yeah, well, that does happen.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's just, to me, and I'm trying to tell him like a little bit, like, the military, I got a Navy guy in there with me, and we're both like, yeah, I mean, it's pretty crappy like that everywhere, but I don't know, that tribal stuff. Like, what are you going to give me for this, whatever, these computers? What are you going to give me? It's like, nothing.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just a funny, like, insight into, and I guess, maybe what Squib was saying, the ad.
Well, they bring that mentality over here when they get like their cars worked on over here where I work at. It's like, well, what do I get for this? You get the work done. Well, how about you give me a deal? No. How about you pay the price?
Well, I can kind of understand that because when I do, like, if I have to go get my car worked on by a mechanic, I mean, I'm on an island in the middle of nowhere, and I mean, Chevy pulled out of here when they closed a lot of plants. And so if there's only one mechanic on this side of the island that could do the job, then he just charges whatever he wants to charge and people pay it. And that's just the way it is because he's the only mechanic that's any good on this side of the island. I mean, there's a lot of crappy mechanics who will fuck up your car, who will charge you less. But
I'll cut you a deal if you buy enough. Like if you buy, like, say I bring you 11 hours worth of work saying, hey, your car needs this, and you buy 10 of it, and that one of those hours of those 11 is a brake flush. I'll do that for free, no problem. I'll kick in a brake flush for free, and all you can do is pay for the part. No problem.
Well, why should he expect that any deal? He's the only guy on this island that could do the job. Why should he cut anybody a deal?
Oh, I understand that, but what I mean is I'm willing to work with folks when I, give them an estimate. But, when you're only paying for, one thing, I'm like, no, I can't give you a deal. You're getting a deal as it is. But if your car had a ton of problems or if you're fixing all the other things that are wrong with it, instead of, well, I just want my light bulb replaced, but you don't want to fix the brakes on the damn car. I mean, come on. It's not my fault your headlight has to be removed to put the bulb in. I didn't make it that way.
Yeah, well, we get to planned obsolescence. Problem with the automobile industry, planned obsolescence, and the fact that I think most of the auto loans are they're all like going to be subprime loans, and nobody can actually afford the cars that they're buying. So because they're just lowering the standards for credit to pretend that the sales numbers look good. Oh, we were talking about that last week about how they just drive cars onto the lot, but I'll just stick to let's stick to what I know about. And the thing with Raytheon and is that they sold the Saudis like a multi-billion-dollar package of air-to-ground missiles for those F-15s because they knew they were fighting and have to fight the Yemenis. There was going to be a war in Yemen. They bought like billions of dollars from Raytheon of air-to-ground missiles.
Well, apparently he's trying to program the equipment, and they're breaking his balls every step of the way.
Well, they may have some very expensive equipment, but I guess it's a third world. I won't. Saudi Arabia is a. I mean, it's a pretty wealthy country. I mean, they have their financial, economic problems, but I would say that it just there may be some cultural issues as far as organizing their workforce effectively or their military, but I really don't know too much about them. I know how much they spent on military contracts with American companies, and it's astronomical.
Maybe they just watched too many episodes of MASH and thought that's how they're supposed to do it.
Well, when I was in Israel, people did watch everybody, and they had tents, and they would have a 16 millimeter projector, and they would play MASH. That, of course, that was a long, long time ago when I was 13. But they liked watching MASH in Israel, so I don't know how it is in Saudi Arabia, but they really like that show.
They still love the A-Team and Knight Rider, so I mean, that's like the number 1 and 2 show over there still.
Well, I think Squid was saying he likes Airwolf, and I never actually even watched Airwolf once.
What?
You never watched Airwolf?
Dude,
the hell?
No.
I don't know you anymore.
I'm going to kick your butt.
I've seen several episodes of Airwolf.
That is un-American HBS.
Well, look, I watched The Rifleman when I was a kid, and The Wild Wild West.
Who are you? Who are you?
You never wanted a Bell 224 painted black and white with Go Mach 1 that sounded like that?
I really didn't even like Knight Rider. I think I watched like half an episode of Knight Rider, and I didn't like it. I watched the Rockford Files. I know every episode of the Rockford Files by heart, practically.
And you didn't like the Dukes of Hazzard either, or the A-Team.
I saw some of the A-Team, but I don't know. Wasn't my thing.
That was my favorite show.
All right. Well, just a generational thing, I think. As far as what people were watching.
Oh, I know, I'm just giving hell.
I got a shoulder holster from my Tokarev from Russia. And it took a couple of weeks to get here. Took a little while to get through customs. And I finally got it, and I don't really like it that much.
Is it leather?
Yeah, I believe it's leather. I don't know crap about real leather or fake leather, but it looks pretty real to me. It smells like leather.
What don't you like about it?
Well, the way you open it, the gun is vertical, so the slide is aiming down at the ground, which I'm not sure I feel about that. But anyways, what happens is, though, is the break. You got to use your thumb to break it open. And they've made it very large, like a giant arrow pointing up at your body, and it's on the inside, so it kind of like digs into you the whole time you're wearing it. Kind of sucks, but I'm gonna keep wearing it and try it out. I've had a couple other shoulder holsters from Galco and some other ones.
We'll go with the Galco. Galco makes pretty good stuff. Great Galco. In case people don't know what that stands for, that means the Great American Leather Company.
Well, I mean, I filmed me opening it up, and I was going to do some mysterious I don't know, YouTube terrorist mail unboxing from the Russian Federation joking around, but I never put it together. But
Probably a
planning on
good
doing it.
thing. I mean,
It's just-
if because you use the word Russians, you'd probably have the FBI all over you.
it was just gonna be a joke. Like, look what I got from Russia. I have the box. I don't know. I was gonna make some sort of a joke, but
So actually, I saw Squib did a video. I was like shocked.
it was really good, really well done. Probably better than any of the videos that I have out there.
He did a couple videos.
All I did was splice some shit together and narrate it.
Star is born.
You got a lot of patience, and it's done right, and it's done well. When I get in front of there, like 1,000 things are going on, and I can't pay attention to what I'm doing. So I'm lucky I can make it through sometimes and not, screw a bunch of things up.
Well, generally, your screw ups can be the most interesting parts of the videos.
Yeah, but I mean, I've got a video that's 30, I think it's 33 minutes long that I'm waiting to put out there, and
That'll take
actually
forever to upload.
it's two videos in one. I shot the original video, and then later I made an intro and added it. But on the intro, I did 21 takes before I had something that I thought was worth.
What about an audio? You didn't just want to do an audio voiceover. Do an audio voiceover.
So the one that I just put out was the first time I did a voiceover, just to see how it worked. So I wanted to see how you put in. Yeah. So I did a range video, and I finally put captions in it, and I was gonna release it, and then I said, you know what, it needs an intro. So I did an intro, and I did 21 takes on the freaking intro before I got it where I said, okay, this intro is good enough to add to the range video to make one big long video.
Of course, the thing is that people like short videos. They don't like long videos.
Well, great. I'll take out the part where I dedicated video to you.
Take that part out. People will hate it. I mean, basically, people just have a short attention span. That's just what you're dealing with.
Nobody needs to watch. I don't give a shit if anybody watches. I mean, I appreciate you guys watching and commenting, but if nobody does, I don't care. I'm not out there to get famous or rich. I don't care. This is fun, even though it is kind of a pain in the ass when you do 21 takes.
We get it right the first time. That's what Clint Eastwood does. I mean, he plans it all out ahead of time, and he gets it right the first take. That way, and the reason he does it that way is because it costs less money to do that. And then when you're making your own films, and time is money. So you want to spend as little as possible.
I have watched a 45-minute Nut and Fancy pant review video. So
did you say pant?
Yeah, the 511 tactical pants.
Get out of here.
Yeah, it's like 45 minutes long or 48 minutes long. So there are people who will watch long videos, but when I make videos, I don't want to sit in front of the computer and edit for that long.
Well, the trick is to edit in your head before you hit the record button on the video camera. So if you know how you want it to come out before you start, then instead of like having to edit a bunch of stuff, it just comes out right.
Okay, so the next thing I want to do for a video is put sound effects or music in there. Now, how did you put that song in your range video without them copyright striking you?
It's not a strike. It's there. It just says includes copyrighted data, and if they want to I didn't monetize it. I can't monetize jack shit. I only have 920 subscribers. I don't have 1,000 subscribers.
You can put music in a video if you don't monetize it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And there's nothing wrong with that. They'll just it's up to the publisher, the person who owns the copyright, if they want to monetize your video. They can monetize your video basically, and you can't. So if you put a video with like
music,
yeah, you can take anybody's music, but they get to monetize it, and you don't. Is all.
Now I'm thinking about putting the Airwolf theme song in there because HVS apparently doesn't watch good TV.
You can get YouTube has a section in the Creator Studio that has all sorts of free music you can use.
Yeah, free terrible crap that sucks shit. And sometimes you'll get people. I've heard people get a copyright strike for using the safe stuff that YouTube tells you to use.
Well,
so because their system is that screwed up. But speaking of television shows that I used to watch when I was a kid, here's one.
There you go. About damn time. Something you realize that show is somewhat related to Airwolf.
Well, it was a World War II Marines kind of a thing, and and they had the siren and the air raids, and it was the same producer. Well,
Mario.
I think that William Conrad knew that in the Wild Wild West and in Bob Bob Black Sheep, he knew who his audience was. It was kids. Kids like to watch his shows. I was a kid. I watched his show.
I think Donald Belsario did Bob Bob Black Sheep. He did Magnum P.I. He did Tales of the Golden Monkey. He did Airwolf. He did NCIS.
I also used to listen to the radio shows, the CBS Mystery Theater, the Lone Ranger. The Lone Ranger actually opened some restaurants in Los Angeles at one point. I went to like the opening of one of the Lone Ranger restaurants when I was a kid. Dad took me. I don't think it worked out financially for the restaurant chain, but
well, I'll make a video and I'll put some music in it and I'll see what happens.
Yeah, like I said, you can get the free stuff, and there is some not bad free music, like the Never Enough Ammo music. The music that he plays is free, and there's a bunch of other. It's funny when like you're watching kids videos and like the firearm rack.
Basically, since Google decided to stop paying like 98% of its channels, it kind of frees us up to use any music that we want to use and not have to worry about it, because their system automatically searches, finds the music, and it won't give you a copyright strike. It'll just say this contains copyrighted music, and you don't have to do anything. You didn't do anything wrong, but somebody else will be monetizing it, not you.
YouTube is free. It doesn't cost me anything to use. I'm not making any money off of it. I don't ever plan to make any money. I don't care if they put a commercial in the front of mine, the back of mine, or whatever. But if I'm using music, I just don't want to get any crap because I'm not selling anything.
Right. Well, here's the thing: if you're using a service and you're not paying for it, then you are the product. And so they're not just letting you do something for free. They're taking everything, collecting all the data and surveilling everything that you do online, and they're connecting that to, like with Facebook, they'll connect it with every little other data collection entry point. They'll cross-reference with your medical records, and they'll basically use it and sell it to whoever will pay.
And medical records.
Yeah, here's an example. My mom actually sent this email to me. It's real funny. You'll like it. 1 second.
I've been seeing old people sending all sorts of chain mail on Facebook lately. Mark, hi, this is from Mark Zuckerberg. You don't forward this in a couple of days. Blah, 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 blah.
All right, so this is Color. This is like somebody calls up to order pizza. Color, is this Gordon's Pizza? And Google answers the phone. No, sir, it's Google Pizza. Color, I must have dialed the wrong number. Sorry. Google says, no, sir, Google bought Gordon's Pizza last month. Color, oh, okay, I'll order pizza. Google says, do you want your usual? Caller says, my usual, do you know me or something? It's like Google says, according to our caller ID data sheet, the last 12 times you called, you ordered an extra large pizza with 3 cheeses, sausage, pepperoni, mushrooms, and meatballs on a thick crust. Caller says, okay, great, that's what I want. Google says, mate, I suggest that this time you order pizza with ricotta, arugula, sun-dried tomatoes, and olives on a whole wheat gluten-free thin crust. Caller says, but I hate vegetables. Google says, but your cholesterol isn't any good, sir. Says, how the hell do you know? Google says, well, we cross-reference your home phone number with your medical records, and we have a result of your blood test for the last 7 years. Caller says, okay, but I don't want your rotten vegetable pizza. I already take medication for my cholesterol. Google says, excuse me, sir, but you have not taken your medication regularly. According to our database, you only purchased a box of 30 cholesterol tablets once at our Drug RX Network 4 months ago. Caller says, I bought more from another drugstore. Google says, that doesn't show on your credit card statement. Caller says, I paid in cash. Google says, but you did not withdraw enough cash according to your bank statement. Caller says, I have other sources of cash. Google says, that doesn't show in your last tax return unless you bought them using an undeclared income source, which is against the law. Caller says, what the hell? Google says, I'm sorry, we only use such information with the sole intention of helping you. Caller says, enough already. I'm sick to death of Google, Facebook, Twitter, WhatsApp, and all the others. I'm going to an island without internet, cable TV, where there is no cell phone service and no one to watch me or spy on me. Google says, I understand, sir, but you need to renew your passport first. It expired 6 weeks ago. So you can't even order a pizza without your medical records coming into play. I mean, they are selling your ass. They put a brand on your ass and they're selling it. Okay, that's what they're doing.
Well, then I want to see a payment from it.
Right.
I know. I'm just kidding. They're selling me. I want to see something. Give me the cash.
Right. Well, so anyway. But yeah, I just do it for fun, whatever, and to maybe we can have some minor impact on Second Amendment issues. I don't know, but and hey, I've met a lot of interesting friends on YouTube, so and gun channels. So it's and there's kind of a little community out there, although that's kind of being destroyed. You know, it's like that song "Video Killed the Radio Star." Well, Google killed YouTube, pretty much. So same thing. But it's hard to believe you never actually even heard of that album, "The Age of Plastic." I mean, everything used to be on plastic. They didn't have DVDs or the internet. If you wanted to hear music, you either turned on the radio or you bought some plastic.
Bought some vinyl.
Vinyl is plastic.
I know. Well, we had cassette tapes when I was a kid.
Yeah, I'm waiting for them to maybe Squibb's factory could probably just soon like make a whole car with one out of just all plastic at some point.
You got to have metal in it.
Yeah, but it's less and less metal every time. So, I mean, it's not like they want the cars to last for more than a few years. They want them to break down. So why not just make an all plastic car?
Oh, they have. It's just they can't sell it.
No, you can't make one out of all plastic.
Yet. Well,
It's not strong enough on its own. So yeah, I guess if they made plastic stronger, sure.
BMW made a car when I was working for them that had this like skin that was like a fabric-y skin that was draped over a wire, not a wire frame. Yeah, like a wire frame that would change shapes. It was freaking nuts. Like, what the hell? It was crazy. Like the Gina 6 was what they called it. It was a concept car. I was like, okay, fabric over a metal frame that moves. Very strange.
so what percentage of a Glock is plastic and what percent is steel? Pop quiz.
30% plastic.
Is that a guess or an accurate number?
That's a guess. I have no clue. I'm just guessing.
Neither do I. I didn't look it up, so somebody's going to have to Google it. And then we'll get it. And then we'll have like, you know, next time I order a pizza, they'll know that I am interested in Glock and plastic. Would you like some steel in your pizza or just plastic?
Anybody know how many rallies went this weekend, or did anybody go to any? I haven't heard anything about them from anywhere.
Well, I'm sure if there was a rally in Hawaii, nobody in the media would report on it at the state capitol.
I didn't see anything on our television up here.
All I saw was that somebody got shot over the weekend, and somebody got shot on Oahu, in Iwa Beach. That's about it. They didn't say, and there were no details. But nobody covered any Second Amendment rally.
Yeah, I mean, what I saw on gun channels and Instagram, and that's from the gun channels folks and Facebook.
Yeah,
I didn't see nothing on any TV.
Well, I mean, I loaded my 40-round Gen 3 over the weekend. I loaded up my Gen 3 PMag 40-rounder that I got with the 5.56. That varminter, that American Eagle varminter stuff that I told you guys about, and so that's locked and loaded. Oh, and yeah, I forgot to say, did anybody hear the yes, Philo, Hawaii does have a capital. It's called Honolulu. But did anybody see that? I mean, I think the entire Trump administration watches our show because the UN ambassador said,
I heard that too. America is locked and loaded.
He said the United States of America is locked and loaded at the UN Council. She said it on Fox News too, but she said it in talking to the UN. So I guess we're going to gain. And we got a president that says we're locked and loaded. We got the ambassador to the UN that says the United States is locked and loaded. So it's like, wow.
Can we be locked and loaded with Glock 7s?
Well, I think I'm going to have to start charging G-Web's money.
That punk pulled a Glock 7 on me.
It's a porcelain handgun that it costs more than you make in a month.
You don't know what I make in a month.
McLean,
get out of my office, McLean.
As long as we don't talk about glass. Because nobody gives a shit about glass.
Shit about glass.
glass.
All right.
I'm sorry.
So where is Dusty still doing his taxes or what? I mean, I haven't seen him in a couple weeks.
Yeah, he's MIA.
All right.
I seen him post on Facebook a couple days ago, I think.
And did he have like a medical thing recently? I mean, just some procedure that he was going to do, some more or less routine procedure.
Well, I think he had that colonoscopy,
Again? What, he had two? Oh, yeah,
Well,
did
yeah,
they go back in?
Well, a couple weeks, we were talking about that before you were off sick.
Well, I know he said the colonoscopy girl, the doctor, medical person was really cute. That's basically what I remember.
Well, that's always good.
You don't want some like old Russian colonoscopy girl. I mean, that'd be...
All right, my name is Boris. I'm here to sit there and shove this camera up your butt.
Yeah, that would be bad.
Yeah.
All right. Any last thoughts on Arlie Ermey before we wrap this one up?
I was upset that he did not go into that veteran zombie movie. I was a little upset, but we're gonna miss him anyways.
What veteran zombie movie?
I turned down the Range 15 zombie movie. It was a crowd-funded veteran zombie movie. It had Marcus Luttrell in it, a bunch of other. It had Tim Kennedy in it. It had a bunch of other, a couple Medal of Honor guys in it. It had.
Well, maybe the script sucked, or maybe he just wasn't feeling like he could do a whole movie. I mean, if he would have signed on to the whole movie, I mean, he just passed away. He couldn't have finished it anyway.
No, this came out like in 2016 or
Oh,
2015.
Yeah, it was a couple
yeah,
years.
they were kind of like, I mean, his response from his whatever his agent was that it's not big enough. We're not going to do it. And it was like, well, we got Marcus, we got the lone survivor here, man. We got, most of the zombies were like wounded war vets. So like people literally missing limbs, wounded war vets were like.
That doesn't count for Hollywood. The only thing that counts is box office draw.
Yeah, and I don't think it was that successful. It had what do you call it? It had oh man, how did I forget his name? Who's the I'm drawing a total blank on this guy's name or any movies he's in. Who's Machete? Machete. Who is that?
Yeah,
I know who you're talking about.
yeah, I can't remember either.
Everybody said
Danny Trejo.
Yeah, that's right. His movies are all called like Machete Kills or Machete Butchers or so it's all of his films are called Machete. But
yeah, they had who else was in it? Oh wow, I'm just really not doing.
William Shatner was in it.
William Shatner was in it.
Captain Kirk.
Yeah, Captain Kirk was in it. Range 15.
Well, I think I need to start now that I have a katana. I think I need to make a series of samurai videos where I just chop things.
Yeah, Keith David was in it.
Like John Belushi with samurai sushi chef or something like that skit that they did.
Yeah, Dakota Meyer was in it. Dale Dye was in it. You know who that dude is?
Yeah, I know that guy is.
Yeah, Jared Taylor, XSF guy. Yeah, so there was like a ton of people. It was like a super veteran movie.
All right. So we're going to close this one out. Check out gunchannels.com if you're interested in Second Amendment stuff. They've got a lot of, or just reloading or building ARs. There's a lot of people on there who are into that. And hopefully I'll continue to improve on my health and we can get another show going next week. And thanks for tuning in. Yeah, so that's our code word for next week. So we'll see y'all. And stay safe, take care of each other, and keep prepping.